You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, Days of Our Lives fans. So it has been a bittersweet past couple of weeks with Bo and Hope Brady, and they left so soon. I mean, too soon, I think. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to talk about when Bo and Hope may be coming back to Salem, since they did promise they would return. But hey, click subscribe if you're not following us. So, of course, most fans were rejoicing when Bo woke up from his 2-year coma after Sean Brady shot him. But this has all been bittersweet because getting the life-saving medicine to save Bo cost John Black his life. Plus, Bo and Hope were barely back in Salem before they up and decided to leave again. And Team Boat fans are seriously disappointed by this brief visit to Salem, especially since we were promised a big reunion 2 years ago for them. And instead, Bo fell into a coma and there was no romance at all between him and Hope. Far from it. It was terrible. And now, of course, it is thrilling that Bo finally came out of his coma surrounded by Hope and Sean Douglas and Sierra. And he got to meet his newest grandkids, little Bo and Addie Weston. And obviously, you know, it was nice that Bo and Hope came home for John Black's funeral. Plus, who can forget all those great flashbacks about their love story? But Wednesday, June 18th's episode appeared to be the last of Bo and Hope. Although they did promise to return to Salem someday, and Bo reiterated Salem will always be their home. But the question is, when will they be back? Of course, people want to know. And the big concern is whether it's going to take another tragedy to bring the fan favorites back to the show. A death, something like that. For many Days of Our Lives fans, Bo and Hope's departure came shockingly too soon. You know, after only a couple of weeks back on the soap, they decided to leave Salem. And to me, it sort of feels like another ripoff, like what happened with the last reunion. You know, on Beyond Salem Chapter 2, we saw Bo in heaven when Hope was shot by Thomas Banks. And then at the last minute, we see he's in the big test tube and he's alive and his eyes open, you know. And then they brought Bo over to the flagship show and they gave us this big old promo promising a Bo and Hope reunion. And that was a couple of years ago. And if you recall, Bo didn't want anything to do with Hope. Thanks to Megan Hathaway messing with his mind, he had gotten all addled and then Kiriakis fixated. That was when Sean shot him, thinking his dad, Bo, was going to shoot his mom, Hope. That was an absolutely infuriating exit for fans that had been promised to see Bo reunited with Hope in all those promos and interviews for their comeback. It was just a huge bait and switch. So I will definitely say that Bo and Hope's return this time was 1,000% better than last time. And I absolutely give the new writers props for how they pulled it off. And I did like that at the very least, Bo and Hope got their happily ever after. And not only did the new co-head writers finally give us a real Bo and Hope reunion, but we also got to see Bo visit with family and friends. And although the multitude of incredible flashbacks to the best boat memories, you know, was very enjoyable, it felt way too fast for them to go, and the flashbacks ate up so much of their scene time, so they didn't actually have a lot of fresh new material. Plus, I feel like they were kind of teasing us with this whole thing about Bo and Hope working for Steve Johnson rather than him just retiring altogether from being a PI now that his partner from Black Patch, John Black, has died. So Bo and Hope were talking about that, and Steve mentioned it, and then we had Bo and Hope planning to sail away on the Fancy Face. They also talked about going to South Africa and other far-flung places to see family and start their next adventure. So maybe the thing with Patch will turn into Bo and Hope coming back to Salem now and then for, you know, short return arcs every so often. I mean, Bo and Hope are endgame happily ever after, and you usually need couples to break up and cheat and do stuff to create drama, and obviously they're not going to do that. So I don't think they're going to be back for good at any point. Peter Reckell lives in Alaska. He's not looking to relocate to LA. but he is happy to visit. So our leaker mentioned that Days of Our Lives could do an umbrella storyline with Bo and some sort of Kiriakis family plot. Perhaps that'll manifest for the 60th anniversary episodes coming November 2025. If not, maybe 2026, because that is what we're filming now. And don't forget that Megan Hathaway is still out there somewhere. She would love to get her conniving hands on Bo Brady again. The last time we saw her was 2023 when Dr. Rolfe helped her leave Salem on a submarine after being shot, as one does. So is she alive and well and plotting to get her high school sweetheart Bo back under her control again? That would be pretty cool to see. You know, if she does, Megan, of course, would have to fight Hope for him. Megan already had Hope gunned down by a sniper at her wedding to Harris. So yeah, I'd like to see Hope get some revenge for that. So while I feel like we got a happily ever after type of exit for Bo and Hope that was satisfying to some extent, it was so rapid. They woke up Bo from that coma on June 2nd, and he and Hope exited this week, June 18th, and that seemed kind of unsatisfyingly fast. I'm guessing that what we're going to get now are off-screen mentions where Kayla or Steve say they've heard that Bo and Hope are visiting Claire and Theo, stuff like that. I mean, them going makes sense because Bo hasn't seen his granddaughter Claire in a long time. I mean, it's a miracle her granddad is awake at all. We've not seen Claire in a hot minute either. So I don't know if the writers are teasing more adventures on screen or just explaining why Bo and Hope are leaving so soon and it's going to be just off screens from here on out. I suspect it's the latter. We've also got some fan critics of Bo and Hope's exit that are not upset that they're gone so soon. They're glad. I will say it's a small but, passionate faction of complainers on Soap's social media that have this attitude of good riddance to Bo and Hope. Some viewers are upset that the last episode with them was boring. I saw it called a snooze fest because people didn't want to see all the flashbacks of their relationship. I personally enjoyed them. Some complain that the Bo and Hope exit took time away from front burner storylines they wanted to see that are going to move the entire show forward, like the Philip and Xander feud. We also saw the investigation into who shot EJ Demera tabled while we focused on Bo and Hope the last couple of weeks. And others fussed that bringing Bo and Hope, even briefly, took away from John Black's funeral. Although I've also seen a lot of people saying they were glad to see that Bo made it to the funeral to express his thanks and condolences and gratitude to Marlena for John's sacrifice that saved his life. So one thing we know from watching soaps is you can't make everybody happy. So if you can make most fans happy, you're probably going to call it a good day. If you are a super fan of Bo and Hope, keep your fingers crossed that they will be back for the milestone 60th anniversary episodes later this fall or maybe into 2026.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.